Okay, so this is our last video for 5.4, and it's got examples of angles of elevation, which I think we've already talked about, but here we go. So Francisco needs to know the height of a tree from a given point on the ground. Okay, so we'll draw a sketch. Here's my tree, and then here's a point on the ground. Okay, and here's the grass on the ground. Okay, nicely mowed. He finds that the angle of, from a given point on the ground, he finds that the angle of elevation to the top of the tree is 36.7. So we're coming up here. That would be the angle of elevation then right there from the point where he's at. I mean, maybe he's laying on the ground looking up or something, but it's 36.7 degrees. Okay. He then moves back 50 feet. Okay, so maybe over here. From the second point, the angle of elevation to the top of the tree, so we've got a new angle of elevation here, is 22.2 degrees. Okay, so that's that angle right there. Okay, so I have two angles is what I have. Let's see. Find the height of the tree to the nearest foot. Okay, so it says the nearest foot. All right, we'll go with that then. All right, we want to know the height of the tree. That would be our x then, right? Okay. Okay, so there's probably more than one way to do this problem, but I'm going to go this route. Because this is a right angle, so let's get that right angle in there. So this is a right triangle, and I have two right triangles. I have one here that I'll show in green, like that. I know the degree measurement here, so I also know the degree measurement here. But I don't know any sides, right? Okay. And so maybe that's not super helpful right now. I can represent though this side right here. So if I wanted to do it in terms of tangent, and I think I do want to do it in terms of tangent. So I'm going to go really quickly on my calculator. I'm going to go 90 minus 36.7. Now this degree measurement they gave us, both of them, were decimals. So this is 53.3 degrees. And let's call this y over here. So I can say the tangent of 53.3 is equal to y over x. You know what? Now I don't want to do it that way. Now I want to do the other angle. Okay, I'm going to erase it. I'm going to do the other angle. It's always good to know the angles, but I'm going to use this angle and say the tangent of 36.7 is x over y. Now that's because I labeled my x, I just labeled x and y, and I was going to try to find x. Now, if I knew what y was, that'd be great, but I don't. But I can multiply by both sides by y. So y times tangent of 36.7 is equal to x. So I have a representation for x. The unfortunate thing is I don't know what y is. I do know, though, that x equals, if I go to this bigger triangle, so this one, and it's also a right triangle, and it's really to the top of the tree, so those should be the same point. But I have that x, right? So I can say the tangent of 22.2 degrees is equal to x over, that's not an x over, do you remember this was 50 feet? So that is y plus 50. Okay, so now I can say, hey, if I multiply both sides by y plus 50, so y plus 50 times tangent 22.2 degrees is going to equal x. Now, like I said, I'm sure there's more than one way you could do this problem. But now, because this purple equation equals x and the green one equals x, I can say this. Y tangent 36.7, which is just a number, is equal to, I was going to put it in purple for you, y plus 50 times tangent 22.2. Okay, great. So now I can solve that. So I got to distribute y tangent 36.7 equals y tangent 22.2, put parentheses there, plus 50 times tangent 22.2. Now, similar to when we were doing logarithms, tangent of 22.2, that's just a number. Okay, I'm trying to solve for y, so I'm going to get the y terms on one side. Y tangent 36.7 plus, or minus, it's supposed to be minus, oh, that's not good, minus y tangent 22.2 is going to equal 50 tangent 22.2. And then we're almost done. So we're going to factor out a y. I'll move away from the edge there. Tangent 36.7. You can make these brackets to make it a little bit easier to read maybe. Minus tangent 22.2. And that's equaling the 50 tangent 22.2. Okay. Okay, now we just have to divide by all of this. Okay, so we get this expression, y, which is not what we're looking for. We're looking for x, but once we know y, we can figure out x. Y equals 50 tangent 22.2 over tangent 36.7 plus, nope, that's a minus. Don't let me lie to you. It's a minus sign. Tangent 22.2. Now, you're going to have to put in more parentheses. Make sure you put parentheses around there, and you make sure you put parentheses around there. So I'm going to go parenthesis 50 tan, it's going to open a parenthesis for me, 22.2. I close that off. I close off the numerator, and then I'm going to hit divided by, and then I'm going to open, and then I'm going to do tan 36.7 minus tan, close off that parenthesis, 22.2, close that off. And then I always like to put in that final one, even though it's pretty forgiving on that. And I'm going to get a number, and I'm not going to round that off, but I'm going to stop while I put this in the calculator. Okay, so it took me a while to put that calculation in. I'm not going to round off, but I get about 60.49675,201. That's what's showing in my calculator. I think we're going to want 3 sig digs, right? But let's scroll back up. I'm not going to clear my calculator out. And then I'm going to go to the easier one right here. So this right here, that tells me what x is. So I want to go back and write this down. They only gave us the two angles, and they're both 3 significant digits. So we want 3 sig digs. Okay. So just note to self, 3 sig digs. I don't know if that's a thing. Somebody in a science class could tell you. All right. So our green equation up there said y tangent 36.7 equals x. So now what we're going to do is we're going to plug that in. But we don't have to because it's in our calculator. So I can just hit the multiplication button. So I hit multiplication, and that answer is going to show up, ANS. It's going to show on my calculator. So it says ANS, it's a lowercase a, ANS multiply, and then I'm going to go tan. It's going to pop open a parenthesis, 36.7, and I'm going to close that off. Okay, so tan 36.7, and hit enter, and I want 3 significant digits, so it's going to be 45.1. And this, oh, it said to go to the nearest foot, didn't it? Where was that? And to the nearest foot. Okay, and so we were measuring this and we were in feet. So it's going to be not the 0.1. We're just going to put 45 feet. That will be our approximation. Okay.